Yo, we're on episode 25 of the Put On podcast. It means a quarter of the way to a century, which is pretty crazy, actually. D, how are you?
I'm doing good, man. How you doing?
All good, man. I'm pumped. I'm pumped up that this is 25. I feel like if we can do one every week, we'll be at 100 in a couple of years.
In a couple of
Uh,
years. True, but I feel good about it. I feel like we're getting there, man, and we're cutting out a lot of the filler content. So, like on that note, let's just jump right into it, right?
First segment is going to be the Put On, Put Off segment. I've got 15 things for you. Um, and we are going from there. So I'm gonna hit you with the first one: airplane food.
Put off. Just for the most part, it's just not that good.
It's not that good.
No.
What's been the best? I'm just curious. What's been the best airplane food experience you've had?
I like the Delta cookies. That's my favorite airplane food. But like the meals, put off.
Okay, number two, skiing.
Put off. I used to like skiing. The last time I went, it was horrible. Way too cold. Like I got hurt. It was just bro. I'm washed. Skiing's just not my thing. Not my thing.
Fair. 401k.
Um, Put off. Kind of a scam. You need the money. Then all of a sudden like you have to take like a 50% cut. It's just put off.
I like that. I like that. Sports cards.
Put on. Obsessed with them growing up. Not as much as an adult, even though I know it's kind of taken off. But just it's still a hit of serotonin when you open up a pack of sports cards.
Netflix.
Put on. Um, just more content. They definitely have shows. I feel like it's fallen off a little bit to some extent, but I still get good stuff on
Eh,
there.
is it still your number one streaming platform?
It is.
Okay. Next one is vacationing to Bora Bora.
Put on because I've never been there and I would love to go, but I can't speak from experience. So just I
I
don't know,
get it.
put on. Looks beautiful though.
Next one, it does. Next one, Impossible Burgers.
Put off. It's one of those things where they're gonna find out. Maybe they already have found this out where it's like actually not that healthy for you. That's where I feel like it's headed if it hasn't already been exposed in that way.
Great shout. I agree. Next one, acupuncture.
Um, Put off. I'm a baby. I have a fear of needles. So no, I'd rather use some other form of therapy than acupuncture.
Okay. Next one, ring doorbells.
Um, Put on. I think they serve a really good purpose, and it's really like innovative technology. There's also a lot of scary content that you get out of it. Like I see clips where it's like people trying to break into people's houses, or like I don't know. I feel like it's the premise of a lot of horror movies now, but just
Mhm.
from a basic technology standpoint, put on.
Lemonade.
Put off if you're drinking it by
Damn.
itself. Put on if it's in an Arnold Palmer.
Okay, you're a fan of Arnold Palmer's. I get it. I like them too. Next one, watching the Olympics. Relevant.
Um, Put on because there's like nothing else on right now, but put off in that I'm actually not that into it. Like, I don't know. Some of the sports, track and field, basketball, other sports, I could care less.
Makes sense. Love Island.
Um, Put off only because I don't watch it, unfortunately.
Okay. Smartwatches.
Put off. Um, Something about it just rubs me rubs me the wrong way. I'm sure they're very
Okay.
helpful, but just no. Put off.
Okay. Home renovations.
Um, this is very like
Pro.
this is very kind
There's
of
pros and cons.
yeah. I would
It's out
say
there.
put off because of how fucking expensive they are. I mean, I want to renovate my house, but then I find out what the price tag is, and it's like, are you serious? Like, that's how much it costs to redo my kitchen? Put off.
And living through a renovation sucks.
Yeah,
But
true.
last one, air fryers.
Put on. Um, I like fried food to begin with, and you're telling me this is gonna be like healthy fried foodish type of thing, then yeah, I'm into it. Um, my wife is like a wizard with the air fryer.
It's good to know. Okay, that was your put on, put off segment. You got some for me?
Yeah, I got some for you, and we're gonna jump right into it. Okay,
Let's
first
do it.
one, Comic Con.
Put off. Not my thing. No Comic Con for me.
How about Ice Spice?
Put off. Come and gone. Not hot anymore. I don't like. No. Put off.
Okay, I have a thing for Ice Spice, so mine would be put on. The Tesla Cybertruck.
Funny you say that. Put on. I saw one in person in Cleveland for like the first time, and those things are crazy, man. Put on look of the car and the car, but put off to how it looks like you can not see through the back. It look the way the car is shaped. It looked like you couldn't see through the rear view behind you. So, but put on as a whole,
Don't you
very
also feel
cool
like
truck.
whoever's driving that thing is just like a hardo, just like inherently just like a hardo?
Whoever was driving the one I saw was definitely a hardo. Yeah,
Okay, next one. Eating chocolate psilocybin mushrooms, like the microdosed ones.
I never have. So for that, I gotta say put off. But if that's your thing, then that's your thing.
Overrated. Um, Canadian soccer spies.
Put on. Every team cheats. They got caught. I think they play right away, and if they win, there's with the 6 point deduction, they are still into the quarterfinals, which would be a massive feat. The one I will put off the fact that it sucks as an athlete probably to have a coach or people higher than you make a decision that then impacts your you know tournament. Like, bro, these guys trained 4 years for the Olympics, and then someone made a decision and now they're penalized. When me as an actual player, I have no control over that. So that is different to me than doping. Like an
Yeah,
individual athlete would understand that they're doping versus this is different. So
I hear
yeah,
you. Kind of disappointing. I always thought of Canadian people as honest, hardworking individuals. But next one, Patty the Batty.
put on just one. The UFC was just in the UK. He won his fight. He's fun. Loves food. I love to see him during the fight and then how he lets his body get a couple months later by just eating all sorts of shit. So he gets chubby and then he cuts. Patty the Batty put on.
Electric walkouts too, right?
Crazy. Yeah.
How about staying in on a Friday night?
Put on. Very, very underrated. Anyone who feels the need to go out every Friday, Saturday, um, reach out because I feel bad for you. Staying in is super underrated and massive put on.
Pokemon cards.
Put off. Nostalgic, but I want that next thing to come in. The new wave. I feel like Pokemon cards will always be there, but put off, not my thing. It's ready for the next wave.
How about Waymo, the self-driving cars?
They have a lot of those in Phoenix. I saw one got pulled over recently, and the
What?
cop
How?
had no one to talk to. Um, Waymo concept put on. Waymo, I've never ridden one, so I can't say, but the concept put on.
Okay. How about the expression "wag me"?
We're all gonna make it. Mm. With how much of a role crypto is playing right now in the current election, and the running, I think, and with the state of the world right now, put on. I think more people need to be saying we're all gonna make it.
It's but isn't it an NFT expression? It's not really a crypto expression, is it?
I would say it's a crypto expression. Let's bring it mainstream. I think everyone needs some more wag me in their life. We
Okay.
we we're all gonna make. I mean, we just talked about it before with the wars, with the state of the U.S., with the state of the world. We all
Yeah,
need some more positive vibes. We might as well bring wag me mainstream.
I feel that. Okay. How about key lime pie?
Major put on. Great pie.
Gross. Hate it. Country clubs.
Hold on, like a country club or like country club?
Like a country club where people play golf and like, people are
I
rich.
thought you meant oh, country club, country
No,
club.
not a club
Uh,
where they play country music.
that's what I thought you were saying. Country club?
Yeah.
Is it a full state of the art country club? Like there's swimming there, there's a pool there, there's tennis, there's
Just
golf, or is it
whatever
just
you
like
think
a?
about as the traditional country club.
I think country clubs are evolving, so I'm still gonna say put on.
Okay. What about Irish goodbyes? You know what that is?
You're gonna have to remind me. You're gonna have to remind me. It sounds familiar,
It's
but
when you
is
leave
is it
without
similar to
saying
an
goodbye.
Irish coffee?
It's when you leave
Oh no.
without saying goodbye to people.
Like at a party, you
Yeah.
do a little Irish goodbye.
Yeah.
Put on.
Yeah.
I don't think you need if you're gonna see the people again. Yeah, put on.
Okay, the last one. How about podcasts that have like a lot of followers and subscribers and think they're so cool?
Because that's not us. Put off.
Yeah. Yeah, seriously, they think they're hot shit, right?
Any honestly though, anyone who thinks they're hot shit from the number of social followers they have or all sorts of different things is ridiculous.
Yeah, it's kind of lame.
Um,
I agree.
your value doesn't equate your
Right.
followers.
Fast
So
forward, fast forward
yeah,
like 5 years from now, we have all these followers. You're famous. It's like
motherfucker,
gone
don't talk
straight
to
to your
me.
head. Oh man.
Yeah, yeah, it'll be funny when that happens, but till as of right now, let's keep it moving.
Yeah.
Next segment, half baked ideas. I'll go first,
Do it.
and then I'm gonna kick it to you. So my half baked idea, they always stem from the problem I had or something I think could be better. So I travel a decent amount, and somehow I typically find myself on the red eyes. And hotel typical check-in times are 3 o'clock, and then you got to check out by 11, right?
Hmm.
And so you can't get in early or you can't stay late and all these things. My idea, and this would be strictly, we'd pop them up strictly around airports, but essentially kind of like a new model of hotel that is like daytime hotels or anytime hotels where it's not like I'm pretty sure I don't know any hotel that does this, but like traditionally when you book a hotel, you book for the night
Hmm.
and you can go in anytime after 2 or 3 whatever, and you have to leave before 11. This would be something where, you have the red eye, maybe you're staying somewhere else for the night but you can't get in there. You want to like, rip a quick nap, maybe shower, do a bunch of things. It would be way cheaper than, what you would pay traditionally for a night at a hotel. But I could go in and book a room from, let's say I arrive at 6 a.m. I can go in and book a room from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. So I got a room for 4 hours. Maybe have a nap. I shower, do my thing, eat breakfast. Maybe I get breakfast there too, and then I'm on to the next. So some sort of hotel model that pops up strictly around airports and people traveling, where it's a few hour windows in terms of booking, and that individuals can leverage for whatever they want to do. So like a new hotel model is my idea.
Bro, you've been crushing these ideas lately. I honestly,
I know I
can I add to this
feel
idea?
like I have. Yeah, yeah. Feel free.
Why don't the next time they build a new airport, just attach it as part of the airport? Like you shouldn't have to leave the
Agree.
airport to check into this new model of hotel, right?
I agree. I agree. It should be something that's how I envision it was like, let's say it starts off small. Maybe there's 10 different rooms, and the rooms are kind of, they're decent room size, but they're maybe big pods or whatever, and it's a extension of the airport, so it's something that's not hard to put into a existing airport. And yeah, I get off the flight, I walk there, I don't have to leave the airport. I'm in my thing. I can do it for 3 hours, 4 hours. In some airports, they have like napping pods, but that's just like a small room where
Yeah.
you're like a chair that reclines. But yeah, man, there needs something like this where I can shower, I can nap. Maybe there's a free breakfast or a free lunch, whatever, and it's an all-in-one package, and I'm on to my day. Like if I'm traveling somewhere, for example, I was traveling Friday to work, and I flew the red eye. Got in at 6 a.m. From 6 a.m. to 2 p.m. I couldn't check in, so I just stored my bags there. But I'm like tired for the
Yeah.
day, in the meetings, doing my thing. It just like doesn't. And I guarantee there's so many people like that. So instead of paying a full extra night of the hotel before, something like this makes so much sense.
Really good idea. And not only that, like when you get off a plane, or I know me personally, when I get off a plane, I feel gross. And sometimes
And
it's
you want
just
to
like, I just want to shower. That's one. And then the second thing, and this might be a little bit provocative, but like, think about how many people like meet people in the airport, or like kind of like, oh, like, like a single person's like goes up to another single person, they strike up a conversation. Can you imagine you had like a room where they could go back if there was like a
true quickly.
quick
Yeah, yeah.
little, a quickie?
Layover flights were delayed, whatever. Yeah, it's multi-purpose,
Yeah.
obviously, as hotel rooms are. So, yeah, I don't see why that couldn't be another angle in
Wow,
terms of
that's a good
promotion.
idea. A
So,
little disruption of airports and hotel. Well, really more so of airports in a way, right? Because it's like a travel hotel.
travel. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I like it. I
What's
really do.
yours?
All right.
Thank you.
So here's mine. It's I don't know if it's as good as yours, right? But it's I'll give you.
You've said that the last few times. I will say,
You're
in
on a
terms
roll.
of the idea, I'm on a hot streak.
Okay. So here's mine. It's like a very specific problem that I have, and here's the backstory. Okay. So my
Mm,
kids, they both collect a bunch of like sports collectibles, cards, whatever, but specifically these little like toys, right?
yeah,
They're called Squeezy Mates and Teeny Mates. I don't know if you've ever heard of them. Okay. So
never.
Squeezy Mates are these little foam collectibles that they make of all the pro athletes, and like they have different series, right? And then Teeny
Yeah,
Mates, same type of concept. They're smaller, they're figurines, and basically like all the athletes, and they have different series of them. So it's like as each year goes on, they're new players on their new teams, whatever, right? So my
yeah,
kids, they collect them, they have them lined up all over their counters. Okay. But the problem is this: they come in packs, and they come in these little like balls that like you kind of like unwrap, right? And so you don't know who you're going to get each time. And it's a surprise, which is, obviously the kids like, talk about the hit of serotonin, like they love that, right?
sure.
But a lot of times they get guys that they already have, right? And so
Okay.
it's a waste of money to begin with. But when this happens, where my kid, like, and this happened the other day, gets the same little figurines that he already has, it's like I'm literally just throwing money away, right? And really bothers me. So, but it made me think, okay? So, what if there was a platform? Maybe this already exists, but what if there was a platform for these types of things, or any number of collectibles, where you could basically like list your toy and search for and search for a different one for your kid, and you're able to basically make trades straight up. And I think it's very like, I don't know that it would work for sports cards, but like of a collection where it's just a one-to-one type of thing, if I were able to go onto this platform and be like, okay, my kid got his, fifth Joker and he doesn't have a Luca, and then somebody else has a Luca, like then I could just be like, yo, you want to like trade? Like I already have 10 of these, my kid wants to collect these. I don't want to waste all the money. And then I'm thinking about like the only problem is then you're shipping and there's a cost associated with it, but maybe you can make it localized so you don't even have to pay the money. You can meet up in your town with somebody to make these types of swaps. I think the only other thing is like there's probably other use cases for collectibles where you could just like trade, like you could just make trades. And again, sports cards, I think I've heard there's other
Too
things that
much
exist.
value.
There's a lot of value, and you're probably taking a cut off of every trade. I've heard of there's some site, I think it's called Veriswap or something like that, right?
I've
Um,
heard of something like that too. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
but I don't know. I was just thinking like if you had some sort of platform, it's called Let's Trade, and you're able to solve for this one specific problem that drives me crazy. That's
It's
the
very
idea.
niche for sure. For
Yeah.
sure. I know people do a bunch of trading and stuff on Facebook, different Facebook groups. Like Facebook is a massive platform obviously for collectibles, sports cards, whatever it is, but there are niche Facebook groups in your area that you could probably be like, "Hey, let's trade." But
It
it's
doesn't
not a,
solve it doesn't solve like it's like, yeah, I could probably go on
no.
Craigslist and do the same thing too, but like I want something very specifically for this one problem, I don't want to have to
I'd be
search for it.
curious. I can't say it's a great idea until I hear how many people are having this one problem. But if there are a lot of people and there is, I
Well, I'll
think the
put it this
localized
way.
thing might be tough because
All my kids' friends collect these things, so I have to imagine all of their parents have the same problem, right? And by the way, great business idea. It's a fucking scam, right? Like they make because, dude, if I knew like I can just get a specific player, right? Then obviously I'd be more enticed. Enticed. I would want to buy. Yeah, I'd
yeah,
be more
yeah,
enticed to buy that specific player, but also I don't even want to buy it if I could trade and I don't even have to, spend money on it. And it's just such a waste of money to begin with. So if my kid wants this one thing, there's got to be a better solution for it. That's my idea.
I hear you. I like it. I'm curious to see where we can take it, but yeah, no, I not all ideas are created equal. You've had some better ones. You've had some. I think that one's okay. I think it's in the middle of the spectrum. But let's keep it moving.
Yeah.
Half baked ideas done. Let me put you on. Let's go back and forth. I know we each got three. You start, then I'll go, then you go, and we'll go back and forth.
I don't think we should do it that way. I'm going to give you three. You give me three. I think we should do it that way.
Okay,
Does
go.
that make sense?
Clear.
Just easier to cut into a clip at some point, I feel like, unless you think I'm wrong about that.
That's No, that's fair. I like using less words, being more concise with my. So
Okay.
yeah,
I'm going to try and be concise. I'll start. Okay. Here are my three.
sure.
And they're kind of all over the board. But ready? First person
That's
that I
what it
want,
is.
let me put you on. Abraham Hicks. Okay. Stumbled upon her. It's a her.
Mm,
It's like
shit.
a moniker. So she's also known as Esther Hicks, and it's a motivational speaker, author, and self-help guru. Okay. And what she's well known for is her teachings on the law of attraction and emphasizing the power of thoughts
Okay.
and feelings in shaping one's reality. If you look her up on TikTok or Spotify, you're going to find a lot of her stuff. And it's like really poetic, it's spellbinding. It's these monologues where she provides guidance on achieving personal well being, success, and happiness,
Okay.
and it just speaks to your soul. I stumbled on it. I love it. I love her. I can't get enough of her. That's number one. Number two, it's a creator Okay, what's your question?
How'd you stumble across her? I'm just curious.
I guess my algo has changed into like some like manifestation, like affirmation, vibrational frequency type content. And
Because you've been reading all those books,
maybe, or maybe like I don't know, I'm just on
or
a
it's what you need.
yeah, I think maybe it's what I need. I don't know. Maybe I watched a couple of those clips and all the way through, and it was like it spoke to me, and somehow it
Let's
just
hit
knows.
him with them.
Yeah. So there's a lot of that type of content out there, and hers is like just mesmerizing. I don't know. I've been listening to it a lot. Second
That's a
one
girl.
is a creator on social named Kwamzy. Okay. Kwamzy underscore is the
I thought
handle. What?
I thought you were about to say that was a girl as well. I was waiting for you to be like, okay.
Yeah. So Kwamzy does a bunch of really funny and entertaining videos, but very specifically his music video clips that are titled "How Fill in the Blank Song Was Recorded." Those are the ones that are incredible. And so in those videos, he'll play several different characters. Like, and I'll give you an example. Like, I was watching a video last night of his where it's "How Too Many Nights" was recorded, the Don Tolliver song. And so, like,
Mm-hmm.
he plays Metro, like being like the producer. Then he plays Young Thug doing like an ad lib. Then he plays Metro Son, where he does like some really funny like visual effect with his face, like doing like instruments with like a spoon and like a
Yeah,
pot.
yeah.
And then he's Don Tolliver, and they're just really creative, hilarious, high quality produced clips that any hip hop fan would appreciate. I went through a bunch of them. You gotta check those out.
Have you seen? I don't know the handle, but have you seen the clips? And it's this guy who he recreates the beats of songs with just random items in his house.
Or
Have you
is he
seen that?
actually doing it like real? He's really doing that, or is it like he's pretending to do it?
I've seen a few and I thought they were dope. I think he is actually doing it. Like it'll be like too many nights or whatever, and he'll start with the Kleenex box, and then he'll go to like spoons banging together. Then he'll like the other so the Kleenex box will continue. That sound will continue. Then he brings in another one. Then he like is like rubbing his shoes against the floor, and he's you haven't seen that guy?
I haven't seen it. I haven't seen it, but what's it? Do you know what's the handle?
I don't know
Oh
the
yeah.
handle. That's I've just seen.
Thanks for putting me on.
But if you see well, no, this is your put on segments. But if you see, it just reminded me of that, and
Uh-huh.
so I could see myself enjoying what
You
Kwamzy,
would. You would.
but this guy is legit too. If when I find his handle, I'll send it.
Okay. Kwamzy, like it's more like he's pretending like he
It's
has
different
like I
for
told you, he's
sure.
pretending to do it. And like if he's on the producer, if he was
Yeah,
doing
yeah, yeah.
Metro, he's like on the keyboard, like pressing the buttons like it's like it's some sort of producer machine. The last one that I'm gonna put you onto, but that I know that you've already listened because I put you onto, but I'm gonna put our audience onto is an episode from the podcast Invest Like the Best with Patrick O'Shaughnessy, and specifically this episode with guest David Senra. And so David Senra,
David.
yeah, really impressive dude. He's an avid reader who immerses himself in the biographies of successful entrepreneurs and business leaders, which he then speaks about at length in his own podcast, the Founders Podcast. And in this,
Which is a solo pod, right? The founders podcast is just him. He never brings on any guests. It's him monologuing his findings from the books that he reads.
yeah, I believe so. And because honestly, I haven't even listened to his podcast yet.
It is.
I have to get into it.
Yeah, yeah. You
Um,
do, you do.
in this
Enzo put
episode,
on.
they're exploring the role of obsession in great entrepreneurs, the significance of early life experiences, how these entrepreneurs balance their work and personal lives, the impact of storytelling on business success, the importance of endurance and overcoming pain, the value of continuous learning, and the influence of leadership and ego. And this guy is just super impressive. I mean, like I'm a little bit envious of what he does because he every single day he's just reading books, and just for the purpose of then being able to talk about it on this podcast.
I haven't heard anyone in conversation be able to back up points they make so vividly with books that they've like. He'll go, yeah, so blah blah blah, and he'll be like, that was talked about in Enzo Ferrari's autobiography, and then he'll be like, yes, one of the greatest entrepreneurs ever, and he just a book I read, a book he said that probably 150 times,
He's got like an
but
encyclopedic
it
memory, right?
super insightful,
Yeah,
yeah. Except no, he doesn't. He doesn't. The way he said he was doing that was he said that what he does is when he reads the book,
right.
he makes highlights.
Yeah.
And then the next day he reads those highlights and then he preps for his podcast with those highlights. And I think he was saying he does it 5 times. He
Yeah.
goes through all those highlights 5 times. That at that point he's able to remember and then articulate them. And he reads back his favorite ones every morning. Like he's doing that exercise every morning. So he actually said that he has a pretty shitty memory from what
Uh-huh.
from what I remember from that. But it's the repetition and it's him reading them every morning and his process that allows him to remember all those things.
Great episode. And talks a lot about podcasting and just the value of
The
podcasting. But
business of
yeah,
podcast.
and
Yep.
it was cool to hear some of the stories about the different people that he was talking about. I'm trying to think of, like, Enzo Ferrari was one of them. Obviously, Steve Jobs, a couple others. I think he
Estee
mentioned,
Lauder.
yeah, Richard Branson. Again, like, very envious of his life of just being able to read books and then just talk about them on podcasts. It's kind of like what I do, but I don't get paid to do that.
Not yet.
Not yet. Not yet.
Um,
All right. Give it to me. What's
there's three
yours?
good ones.
Yeah, put me on.
Let me put you on. First one, content creator. Sprezza is the handle SPR.EZZA. So what he does is he's actually he gives me a little bit of like first class jerk, the travel content, a little
Hmm.
bit of Adam content style vibes, except I think Adam's a great content creator. Shout out first class jerk,
Yeah, shout
but
out to Adam.
he does it with men's fashion, and so he goes into why different green screen, different culturally relevant videos on why something like North Face, how they got their start, how that brand is relevant, different athletes or celebrities wearing it, and kind of how, it's just super, again, whether I'm super into fashion or not is another question, but he's kind of sparked my interest in just the men's fashion world as a whole, and just the way he does content. He's got a newsletter, but he's got different things, and I think he's a great fashion content creator. So just like the men's fashion niche, Sprezza, you should
Is
check
he
him out. I think he's really
is he
good.
on TikTok, Instagram? Where is he?
Both Instagram, the IG handle.
Does it
Yeah, I would say
has he done anything on Siegelman or no?
not that I've seen, but it wouldn't surprise me. I
Hmm.
transparently I came across him recently, and I haven't dove all the way back.
Uh-huh.
But I wouldn't surprise me if he'd done anything on Siegelman. He touches on like super culturally relevant brands, and again how they got their starts, and then up and coming ones as well. So Siegelman would fit in that bill. So he could have, but great content creator.
Cool. What you got
So
next?
it's my first one. My Actually, I'm gonna leave this one till last because it ties into a. I found this interesting. So my next is actually, I'm going hard on the content creators. My next is actually another content creator, and it goes back to, I'll make a statement. I think this is the best professional athlete turned content creator that I've ever seen, that we've ever seen. The seamless transition from being a pro athlete and still doing it to now a full time content creator. I've never seen done like this. Way better than anyone else in the game. Might not be your thing, but it's a bunch of people thing, so I'm putting everyone on. Bryson DeChambeau, the fucking golfer, just the way he's able to nerd out in front of the camera, the way he's able to provide insight, that no one else is providing. The way he's able to, he just did a video with, again, I'm not getting into politics right now, but he just did a video with Trump on the golf course, like breaking 50, and it was a great, piece. He does a bunch of different things, but he has some flair. He adds a funny element, and he's still on, the golf tour and still winning major championships. So professional player turned content creator. Bryson Dechambeau is amazing at content in his
Didn't even
niche
know
in
that.
golf
Didn't
content.
know anything about his content, so I'm gonna have to check it out. By the way, back up a little bit. Your
Oh, you
face
got
is
it.
going off the screen. I know you're very passionate about.
I'm passionate about Bryce.
Yeah.
No, you got to. You
All right.
got to.
I gotta check him out.
My last one is actually a pod. It is called the Future of Medicine podcast.
Mm.
Shout out Dr. Aaron Wenzel. I actually was with him on the weekend, and his goal is he wants to live to 157 years old, and he believes in, sort of his big thing is innovation in medicine and
Wait, wait,
how,
wait, wait. Real
different
quick.
things.
Has anybody ever lived to that age before in history?
I don't think so.
Why one? Why
So
157? It seems like a very arbitrary number.
we'll actually have to have him on. We'll have to have him on, and he can
Okay.
explain that. I didn't go into depth. He was explaining a bunch of different things. Super knowledgeable, insightful. The podcasts are, 20 to 30 minutes, very quick hit. Some good takeaways from like hard health to just the innovation of medicine and how we should be thinking about different things. Like, for example, he says that diabetes and what we eat is the number one killer, and so like insulin levels is what you should be looking at, and the whole, traditional doctors will treat your disease and give you, medicine for it, but you're not actually treating the cause. And so, working backwards and just treating the medical game, and he, I mean, I've never seen anyone so passionate about being able to live that long. And he truly thinks that, again, if you do the right things and you get in front of and you go on offense, is what he says most of what we all do is we wait until, we get sick, we wait until
Yeah.
we have a problem, and at that point it's too late. And the whole medical system as a whole is defensive, because we'll get sick and then we get treated for being sick. But our bodies are now suppressed, and we can't fight disease as well as we could before, and it just, this downward spiral. So going on offense from a young age, and even by young age I mean, under 60, and just making sure you have the right practices and things in place. It's just super interesting. So the Future of Medicine podcast, kind of early, like Huberman vibes a little bit, just like, a different voice, obviously not nearly as influential and big, but I hope and could see it being there one day. And yeah, so
Canadian.
leads me to my, no, he's from the US, Nashville.
I was gonna say, obviously,
He's not Canadian.
we've touched on a lot of longevity stuff, blue zones, whatever. I even came
Yeah.
across a clip the other day of just some guy talking about like same thing. I want to be the first person in my family to live to 100. Here's like 4 exercises, and like I was watching them, and then I was just like, I don't know. I don't think I'm going to do those exercises, but I am fascinated in just like that type of content
I think you would
of
like
like,
it.
yeah, okay, so I'll check it out.
Biohacks. And yeah, so that leads me to my, I found this interesting. Aaron's point to me was all about insulin, and this is not new, but Gary Brecka, his whole 72-hour water fast, I find it extremely interesting that you cannot eat food for 72 hours,
It's a long time.
just drink water, and it resets your gut completely. Like, all you have to do is not eat food for 72 hours, and your whole gut, which contributes to a bunch of your health, like most people's problems come from the gut, come from diabetes, come from too much insulin. That will reset your gut completely. That's all you got to do. 72 hours, 3 days, no food. Way harder said than done, but complete reset of the gut. So I thought that was super interesting. I heard of the whole water fast thing, 72 hours, whatever, but that is the exact time that is supposedly needed to reset your whole digestive system, which is fucking cool.
That is interesting, but like you said, a lot harder said than done. And
For sure.
like I'm thinking about myself. Like if I was just drinking water and I wasn't eating food, like would I would I make it beyond the day? Like, am I gonna pass out? I guess you're drinking water, so it's like maybe you're not
You
gonna pass out, but I would. I don't know how I could survive like that.
you'd have to find a 3-day window, maybe a long weekend, maybe your kids aren't home, where you're just chilling. You can't be doing anything, and just, lie, like walk a little bit, be able to watch TV, chill out, read books, not do anything that exerts you too physically or mentally. I think it's yeah, I've heard people who have done it, lots of people. I want to try it. I just need to find a 3-day window. I intermittent fast though. I never eat now. I've been doing this for a couple months. I will not. I haven't eaten yet today, and it's 3 o'clock. I won't eat food for the first 5 or 6 hours of me being awake. So there, after like a 2 hour mark, I'm starting to get hungry. I feel like shit. I'm normally busy, so it's hard to focus. But then after that certain point, it's just like, okay, well, it's not going away. So I don't like to eat within like the first 5 or 6 hours. I'm starting to only eat like 2 meals a day, which I feel a lot better. So yeah, maybe
Uh,
start with intermittent fasting if you can, and then do a 72
I
hour
do
water
that a
fast.
little bit because sometimes I do it for bad reasons because I eat so much shit at nighttime that like I'm just not hungry in the beginning of the day. But other times I'm like, I'm not that I'm not that hungry in the morning, like first thing usually. Like I don't really need to
Fair.
eat until like 11, 12 o'clock. And by the way, I think past guest Josh Owings did that water challenge. I remember
I
seeing,
actually saw that him and
yeah,
his brother. Yeah, they both did.
he's a big
But they
Gary
were
Brecka
working
guy.
out like
Yeah. He like did
they were like
almost pass out, right?
yeah, because they were actually doing work. Like I don't think I could go work out after not eating for like that
Yeah,
long. There's
crazy.
no way.
No.
W-
Um,
You have a I found this interesting.
I do. Okay. I found this interesting. So I recently stumbled upon a TED Talk by a guy named Josh Kaufman, who's a best-selling author, speaker, and self-education advocate. Okay. His TED Talk is titled "The First 20 Hours: How to Learn Anything Fast." Very catchy. I was like, okay, let me check it out. So basically, in it, he talks about how to overcome the common challenge of feeling overwhelmed when learning new skills. And he basically also demystifies the idea that mastering a skill requires 10,000 hours of practice, which is a theory that was popularized by
Yeah,
Malcolm Gladwell's book, Outliers.
yeah,
And
yeah,
it's
yeah.
kind of become widely accepted in a lot of ways, right?
It has. Yeah,
But he basically makes the argument that 10,000 hours really applies to becoming an expert, right? And that you can actually become
fair.
proficient in a skill with just 20 hours of focused practice, deliberate practice, which is obviously way less daunting,
That's
right?
interesting.
20 hours. So, in other words, you could go from knowing nothing about something to knowing something really well with deliberate practice for 45 minutes a day for a month. And he breaks
It's
it
not
down
bad at all.
into like a 4-step method, which was and I'm going to read these: deconstructing the skill, which is basically like breaking it down into smaller, manageable components so that you can gradually build your ability in small doses, right? Then, number two, learn enough to self correct. So that's like essentially getting a foundational understanding of the basic principles of the skill to the extent that you can identify and correct your own mistakes, right?
Okay,
The third thing
makes
being
sense.
removing practice barriers. So that's just like getting rid of any distractions, whether it be social media or TV or anything that's going to take away from your focus. And then the last one,
Yeah,
number four, is just practice at least 20 hours. And uh, it was a really
that's
entertaining TED
interesting.
Talk. It's got like 50 or 60 million views because he delivered it in a really entertaining way. But it's also one of those things where I love to learn. I me and you were both into personal development and acquiring new skills, and I just love the idea. It's almost like the 4 hour work week with Tim Ferriss, when you're just like, wait a second,
Fairs.
I don't need to be an expert in this thing. Like if I just do 20 hours of this thing, I'll know way more about this thing than I did before, or I'll know way more about how to do something, or learn this skill than 99% of everybody else out there, right? So I just found this interesting. Just that, there's always another way to do something, right? You kind of get like stuck in this way of thinking where you're like, oh shit, like 10,000 hours, I have to do this for the next like 5 years
Yeah,
to
yeah. There's
figure
no
out how to
way.
do this, right? But actually, there's a better way, and
That
so check that out.
that 4-step process is super interesting, and it makes me think. Editing, we talk about, not wanting to take on potentially new things just because time is already of the essence with, but that, yeah, 45 minutes a day for a month on at a large scale is nothing. So,
If you could learn a new skill
I'm
right
definitely
now,
excited about that.
if you could learn a new skill right now, right, and devote that 20 hours, what do you think? What do you think you would do? Which skill?
Video editing is the one that first comes to mind.
Yeah,
Probably that, and then I would probably go like cooking, man. Like I would love to be able to be a very proficient cook.
yeah. By the way, I feel the same way. Cooking, and then my other one I was thinking was like learning languages. Like I would love to
Which would
like
be cool.
yeah, like I'd love to really actually like be able to speak Spanish or like be able to speak like I don't know French, just like other languages. I just feel like that's such a cool skill to have. Um,
It is.
or, or play an
I
instrument.
definitely instrument would be cool. Yeah. Not my thing specifically, but it would be, to be able to rock the guitar or yeah,
You know what?
cool.
Actually, one last thing. Maybe I've also thought about this recently, but like being like learning how to DJ.
DJ, yeah, yeah.
That'd be cool.
Same page. Yeah, would be dope.
Because I love putting
Well, man,
together the playlist
the
and
mixes. Yeah,
yeah, and like I don't know, seems like a pretty cool gig to be able to just like, hey, I can DJ this party.
have on. Yeah, 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 yeah. No, I agree. Um, well, episode 25. It's a wrap.
Yeah.
Thank you all for listening. Our millions of fans. One day, honestly, people will listen to 25. They'll come back, see what I wonder what they were like at 25. I wonder what they were like at 51. It's all get better every
We're
time.
getting
But
better, man. We're
yep,
getting better.
appreciate you. We'll talk.
Later, Tim. Peace.
Thank you for tuning into the Put On Podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to subscribe and don't forget to follow us on social at the Put On Pod.